Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Don Odell's Legends. My name is Art Tipaldi. I'm the editor of Blues Music Magazine, and I ask you to check out our new issue, which you can check out either online or we currently have distribution with this issue. We are on the bookshelves at Barnes & Noble. Tonight, we have a fabulous guitar player here in the studio. I think if the history of the second part of the 20th century is going to be about guitars, then Arlen Roth is going to be one of the ambassadors.
Oh God, that long already?
But we are We are here with Arlen Roth, who has just an amazing resume of stuff. He is featured in the current Vintage Guitar with a huge 7-page interview with him. I highly recommend that you get online, search him out, find out about him. But let's talk first, before we talk about some of your history.
Yes.
Let's talk about your new CD. You have one out there now called Tele Masters.
The Tele Masters.
Tele Masters.
Well, they've been calling me, the master of the telecast.
Yeah.
Once in a while, they change who that is.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, well, there's a lot of other masters I'd like to have on this album, too.
I know, yeah.
So I got a hold of, Brad Paisley, Vince Gill, Steve Cropper, who's an old buddy of mine, Albert Lee, Johnny Hyland, so many, Jerry Donahue, Will Ray. I know I'm missing a few.
Right. I got the list here. I know.
Red Volker, Bill Kirchen.
Cindy Cash Dollar.
Well, but she's not she's played steel guitar on them. But they like to promote her as well.
Right.
But she's wonderful. She played with me on the Slide Guitar Summit as well, which is the one before this.
That's right. So before this, you did Slide Guitar Summit. So just to let our viewers know, in 2 CDs, you've brought in almost 22 different guitar players to play with you. What's that process like in terms of arranging the material?
The arranging the material for me is a very pleasurable thing because when I picture the artist, I instantly get something comes to me.
Okay.
Now, sometimes in the case of this album, there are songs that I'd written a long time ago.
Right.
Some of them I even had recorded a long time ago.
Okay.
On some albums that, to this day I have to buy on eBay.
Yeah.
But so I figure, okay, maybe not too many people know those songs. I think I'll refresh them.
Yeah.
So the one I did with Vince Gill, and the one I did with Brent Mason, that's a song called Roadworthy, which was on an old album of mine 30 years ago. And the one that I did with Brad Paisley is a song called Bunky, which I recorded years ago, which was dedicated to my late daughter, Jillian, who I used to call her Bunky when she was a little baby.
Yeah.
So, it's just an up-tempo country thing.
Right.
But I loved using that name and all that stuff. But, all these guys, same thing with the Slide Guitar Summit. I picture that, we're all players who can handle a lot of different stuff.
Right.
So I like to picture the right song for the right person and just go for it. And every time it just seemed to be right. In this case, Steve Cropper had a song that he wrote with Tom Hambridge.
Yes.
Called White Lightning, and it's not the other white. There's about 20 other White Lightnings.
Right. Yeah.
But this is a new one.
New one on
But
Steve.
really cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So there's so many things to talk about here because there's so many different styles that are attacked in this CD. I'm a blues lover, but there's this nice country stuff that you've got going on. There's some honky tonk. There's surf guitar. At times I'm going, oh, is that the Ventures in the background?
Right. Psycho surf.
Yes.
Whatever they call it. Psycho Billy. Yeah. Psycho surf.
So is that difficult to? Well, how do you do all those different styles with just the 6 strings? What makes something
one string at a time?
What makes something country-ish versus bluesy or
those kinds of things are what the business kind of has to throw on you. Where do we put this? Country, blues? It's really Americana, which is a way of describing all of that stuff blended together because it's American music.
Yeah.
But when I'm coming up with the ideas and thinking about it, I'm not thinking of different genres. I'm just thinking of the genre of me and how music comes through me. And a lot of these, for example, I did these last 2, those were done in Nashville. And there was an acoustic Rolling Stones album in between those 2. but not too many people know. It got some great rave reviews.
Oh my gosh!
They said nobody's ever done an all acoustic Stones
fabulous.
album.
Yeah.
I kind of did it from that Stones period when they were using a lot of acoustic guitar,
early
and a lot
'60s,
of slide.
the early stuff.
Yeah, the early stuff.
Yeah.
I was the first kid in America to ever recognize Charlie Watts in a music store. But they told me 30 years later when I was on the BBC in London, I'm telling the story about meeting Charlie when I was 11.
Right.
And they called up this, you were this charming little boy. Charlie couldn't believe that any kid in America would recognize him.
Oh boy.
This was in '64. Cool. I was with my dad buying my first little electric guitar.
Uh-huh.
And my dad pushed me. He said, go ahead, because I knew it was him.
Yeah, yeah.
He already looked 80.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, Charlie.
Yeah.
He pushed me and said, he wrote Charlie Watts of the Rolling Stones.
Of the Rolling
Stones. So that
Stones,
little story is inside, and pictures are inside that album as well.
How cool.
You didn't get a copy of that,
I did
though.
not.
I'll make sure you have.
I'll give you.
We have plenty here.
Oh, okay, good. So when you are as a non-musician, what is it that gives the song that flavor? The different flavors. Is it pedal boards? Is it?
Well, no, I'm not a pedal board guy.
That's great.
No.
Yeah.
But no, these guys come in. That's like the Nashville session. Some of them come in with like 40 pedals.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've got an amp and a plug.
Yeah, right. Great.
And
so it's all fingers and
it's influence. Like when I grew up and I was in the Bronx. And then I would go up to White Lake, New York, where the Woodstock Festival was.
Yeah.
I was going there since I was born every summer. And I tune in those far off, those country stations from Pennsylvania and West Virginia.
Okay.
And I said, I really like the sound of those steel guitars, So I was growing up loving blues.
Yeah.
I was like idolizing, Mike Bloomfield, BB, Buddy Guy, Otis Rush, all those people, Son House. But then I'm loving Merle Travis, Clarence White of the Byrds, who I didn't even know it was Clarence White yet because he had no credit on that first album.
Okay.
And Zalyanovsky of the Spoonful,
Yeah.
and all the great country players, Joe Maphis, all those people. I would seek out the vinyl.
Right.
And this is still in the 60s, So I came up loving both at the same time.
Right.
And I said, I like jazz. Jazz is interesting, but I'm self-taught.
Okay.
So I said, I love how I evolved naturally as a player. I wasn't about to go into Berklee School of Music and cash it all in and think I have to start back at square one, because some of these schools make you do that.
You have to get rid of everything you already know.
I was a natural.
I know.
So I wanted to continue, let the natural stuff flow into my playing. And what I love about doing albums like this with all these great players is they push me in different directions.
Right.
I say, this is a great song for Red Volkert. He's fairly jazz.
Yeah.
And
I just was listening to that on the way here.
I said, okay, I'm gonna go with him a little bit, and with Joe Bonamassa.
Yeah.
Okay, he's lighting a fire under me.
Yeah.
I gotta play really fast. All right, pull me out quickly.
Right.
Let Joe play.
Yeah.
But it was like I love that. And we're peers.
Right.
We're peers.
Yeah. When I was listening to the Bonamassa thing last week and then today also, he's got that great Albert King tone.
Albert Collins.
No, I thought he sounded more like Albert King in the lead.
Because on that song, it was a tribute to Albert Collins. So it's true in the beginning.
In the beginning, his first thing. So, but I said to myself, everybody in the guitar, in the studio, on the CD, we're all very complimentary to each other.
Right.
We're giving each other the solos.
Right.
But is there a part of each guitar player or you where once Bonamassa does that, it's like, okay, I'm going to come back, but I got a little secret Arlen Roth sauce of my own here? And is there, kind of like in the movie Crossroads, where you just sort of...
Oh God,
I know. But is there something in you that is there kind of that little bit of ego that just says, okay,
a little competitive edge?
Yeah. Let me just take it. Let me take it. Let me show you me.
To a certain degree.
Yeah.
I mean, what happens is, what I actually prefer is, like, for example, with a guy like Steve Wariner. Okay, go in there, and I'm like, oh man, like, this guy is unbelievable, and his style is so different.
Right.
But he comes in there saying, oh, he admired my playing for years, and his kids learned from my videos, and I'm like, what? They didn't learn from you?
Yes.
I guess was busy on the road.
Yeah.
But it's a tough thing. It's like, yeah, with Bonamassa, for sure, I felt like, okay, I'm up against the wall.
Right.
Now, so I've got to like come out with the most fire I can. But it's going to be my version.
Your fire, yeah.
I'm not going to imitate him.
Right.
Same thing with Jack Pearson. Jack Pearson does this one line where I said, you know what? I understand what he just did. I'm going to take that and kind of plug it into my thing because it is, after all, a jam.
That's right.
It's a conversation.
Yeah, of course.
And the way I came up for years was I would have these knockdown, drag-out jams with people,
right,
where we would just play and play and play. Like when I was in college in Philadelphia, I'd be doing these jams, and there'd be like hundreds of kids just hanging off the rafters watching us.
Right.
You know, it was this, and you can't believe how quickly you're learning.
Yeah.
During that time, you're just learning on a daily basis because you're teaching yourself.
Yeah.
I used to wake up in the morning, I'd be like, I'm going to play something new today. I've got to teach myself something new.
That's cool.
Come home on the bus from junior high school, dreaming of licks, dreaming of songs, and saying, will this work when I get home? I think it might work, you know? And I get home and have it all arranged in my head.
Yeah.
So it's like,
that is cool.
I call that the big fingerboard in the sky, you know? And all of us have experienced that.
Yeah.
You know, and what a great thing to get to play with guys who we all know deep down that we've all gone through that same process, and that we've also been sidemen for many years. I mean, I was a sideman, you know, John Prine, Simon and Garfunkel, everybody.
Right.
And, you know, I learned so much.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you have so much to recall when you're in there.
It's incredible. And it just becomes part of you.
Right.
You know, you're not thinking like, oh, gee, yeah, I remember that lick on that night.
No,
it's purely organic.
That's right.
And it's purely, it's the process of art.
That's right.
Of making art, you know.
Exactly. It is, in this process now
Yes.
of making the CD,
you've
got and the last one too, you've got a world-class producer who is also a drummer. So he's producer, musician, and you're musician creating with other musicians. How does Tom Hambridge influence the production of each of these songs as a producer? What do you give over to him to do?
Well, he's a great producer because
Exactly.
what he does is so, in a way, unspoken that you don't realize that all these wheels are turning and all this stuff is going on, and the recordist and all the other people are really moving along at a great rate. You know, I mean, like I had it was 5 days in Nashville, and we cut like about 12 tracks.
Okay.
And I think there was about 8 artists who came in.
Okay.
And all you knew was that I think it really helped that he was behind the drums.
Right.
Because he could be like, okay, 1, 2, 3, you know, he's there clicking the sticks. And he did a great job as a drummer.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
He and I got to play a lot together up in Martha's Vineyard and in the Boston area.
Right.
When he was playing
Way
with
back.
me, we did some gigs for Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
And with Kate Taylor and James Taylor.
That's right.
People like
That's
that.
right.
And Tommy was just, I mean, he was wonderful. And he always had Tom McDonald on bass with him. We used to call them the two Tommies.
Yeah.
And they're still there, inseparable.
That's right. I see Tom McDonald playing bass.
Fabulous bass player.
Yeah.
So we had talked years ago about maybe like even forming a band, but then he started getting involved with other projects. But I noticed that he had turned into this gigantic producer. And so I said, Tom, why don't let's do something. I got this idea for the Slide Guitar Summit. A lot of the people are in Nashville, like you are. And he said, sure, man, let's go. So now we have this, we're kind of like linked together forever as artist and producer. But I love him. But I think that I think a lot of it was like kind of unspoken. And some of it maybe happened afterwards, after we did our takes and things needed to be mixed. Then he would jump in as producer with the engineer. But you know, he's very busy. He's always doing all these extra projects.
Right, and now that Buddy's drummer has passed away,
he's
been on the road with Buddy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Tim Austin passed away. He wasn't on tour with Buddy, and then he passed away. And Tom has been on tour probably for 6 months now with Buddy. Yeah, with these guys.
Yeah.
Did they have the music, the song that you were going to do before they came in the studio? How does that work?
Only a couple of times. You know, because they could look it up because they were like older songs of mine. Or I say, I want to do a version of this.
Right, okay.
But like, for example, me and Johnny doing Funky Mama, that's a direct tribute to Danny Gatton.
Oh, yeah.
Which was the first song on his first album.
Okay.
So, and Johnny just went in the studio. He said, "Come on, let's do Funky Mama."
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, right.
It's just that quick. It
That's
just
cool.
makes sense. I let everybody have their voice.
Yeah, yeah.
And Warner was like, I told him, I said, I want to do Remington Ride. I gave him a couple of choices. He said, "Oh no, you got to let me have that."
Yeah.
He said, "That's got to be mine. That's
Oh,
got to be
that's
mine."
cool.
I said, "Okay, you got it."
Yeah, yeah.
And so some things were really like where the artist really wanted it.
Yeah.
Cropper, of course, had his
Has
tune.
his own. I love the Will Ray doing
Oh yeah.
the Rumble.
Well, I
Oh,
figure
my
his
God.
name's so close to
I
Link
know,
Ray.
Link Ray.
You got to
Yeah,
do it.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, that's great.
That is
I
fabulous.
said I want to do the heaviest version of that song that has ever been done.
Yes.
With the exception of the one that when I saw the late great Dick Dale do it
Oh yeah.
in California,
that.
forget it.
Yeah.
I mean, each chord
Right.
that he played had a whole different bank of lights. It's like whomp, whomp, whomp. I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he's playing like razor sharp, like with that.
Yeah.
It was so powerful.
Right, right.
And I'm not that easily impressed
Yeah.
with guitar players. I'm not.
Yeah.
But I just because, for whatever reason.
Right,
But
right.
he was so different.
Yeah.
And so unique.
Yeah.
And I just had a pleasure just like really just being entertained
Sure,
by this
sure.
wonderful performer.
Right. I watched that Rumble, Indians Who Rock the World, the documentary.
yeah.
And I didn't realize it, but Van Zandt talked about that song was is the first instrumental song to be banned because they thought it would cause agitation and unrest in 1957.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. So it was really a treat to hear that. So what happens now when you take Tele Masters on the road, where you have had all these guests, now you have to translate it with your band? How does it translate?
Well, what I'm doing on the road is, because I have so many other albums, I'm still doing a lot of stuff from my older albums.
Okay.
And then I'll work a few, like 3 or 4 from that album into the new stuff.
Okay.
But of course, a lot of it is trading off.
Yeah.
So me and Chris Foley, who plays with me, one of my
Okay.
favorite guitar players,
Great.
and we work out stuff with that. And but it's hard because those songs are all. That's why I always have to have another guitar player with me because everything
Yes.
is so much a 2-guitar arrangement.
Right.
With a lot of harmonies. That stuff with Jack Pearson is just phenomenal.
yeah,
Key to the Highway.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's all one take, live.
wow.
I mean,
Wow.
we're just like, on air.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was phenomenal.
That's magical. Yeah.
It was really magical, and we wanted to capture that kind of energy. I know it's been said a million times, but I really do love that. There's nothing worse than having an
Spontaneous
album
energy,
of
yeah.
all these people, and then like the album it sounds like it was all fixed in the mix.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
want that.
That's right. That's
So,
right. Yeah, yeah.
I love.
And I love the fact that there's so many instrumentals,
Yeah.
on all your stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that really showcases the guitar. And as I said earlier, it's possible that when we look back on this last 40 or 50 years, the guitar has really become the prominent instrument. Piano has moved to the side, no more.
Without a
And
doubt.
What's the advantages that a guitar has that will continue to make it speak like this?
Everything about the guitar is so vocal. Like I try to explain it to students. I say, look, number one, this note, this open E string can also be here, can also be here, can also be here, also be here. I'll give you 6 places where you could find that exact same note in the same key.
Okay.
It's the same octave.
Okay, yeah.
Not like a piano player who has to keep on crossing over. So that number one, but so the possibilities are endless mathematically. But
Yeah.
it's the bending.
Right.
It's the bend. I'll bend a note before I even play it straight.
Really? Yeah.
Bending, vibrato, sliding,
Right, yeah.
playing slide guitar, which is purely vocal.
That's right.
So everybody can find their own voice on the guitar. Like I had Hot Licks Video
Right.
company. I was the first person to ever have, video instruction. And I was never worried that I was going to create another Arlen Roth.
Yeah, yeah.
Because everybody ends up with their own fingerprint when they play.
Yeah, right.
I've shared my licks with the world.
Yeah, but-
And maybe there are a lot of people who kind of use them.
Right.
But that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. When people are finding their own voice, is it one hand that would be more dominant with for example,
The left.
It is the left hand.
It's the left. The left is what I call the one that's connected to the soul.
Okay.
The right hand, though, is the one that we as guitar players are most impressed with with another player, because that's the train that drives the soul. So if you have a killer right hand, and like these guys in Nashville, they all have the thumb pick and they're all wailing away. I'm like, oh boy, I better take this back to New York, guys. I got a few things to fix. Because they walk in like razor sharp, boom, 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 boom. You know?
Yeah, right.
But that incredibly impressive right hand, particularly with finger style.
Yes.
And of course, when you're talking bluegrass, like like the new great players. Well, Brian Sutton's on the album, and I love Molly. I forgot her last name. The great Molly Tuttle. Molly Tuttle. She's got the most amazing right hand in terms of cross picking. How she could play so fluidly and so fast just with a pick.
Right.
That becomes a whole other thing.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, but that's bluegrass.
Yeah.
Bluegrass, they almost like they'll hit you hard if you play with your fingers.
With your fingers, yeah.
But I like to use the pick and fingers, and sometimes just fingers.
Just fingers.
Because I started on classical, which gave me a really good respect for that right hand.
Right, yeah. Because I know when I see the acoustic blues players, this seems to be the personality. You know, when Kev Moe is playing, or Alvin Youngblood Hart, it's like, or Doug McLeod, or Rory Block. You know,
I know. I've played on Rory's album.
That's right. That's right. I just talked to Rory about 2 weeks ago.
She's terrific.
I love her. But she, you know, it's that hand there is that personality, and that's cool. You called this the.
This is the soul.
The soul, yeah.
And this is the expression. The right hand is just the means by which you get there.
Yeah.
And some people I've had come to me even have like really outlandish right hand techniques where the hand is facing the wrong way. But I say, you're doing great. I don't want to change anything.
Yeah.
Because that's their
thing.
That's
their personality.
The first thing you do when you pick up a guitar is you just go here. I once had a student ask me which side of the guitar he played. I said, see you later. He turned it over. He said, do I play this side or do I play that side? But that's just a joke now.
Right.
Then he ended up at the post office. But it was really, if you have both of them really coordinated fantastically, then you're off and running. And the idea is to get that thumb to be the timekeeper.
That's right.
And also the muter. It mutes and blocks and damps, particularly if you're playing slide.
Right.
Because the slide, you have a foreign object on your finger. You know, you got to somehow stop all that noise. Like, how do I isolate just the B string when I've got a piece of metal going across a lot of strings? You know. So.
Wow.
But the way I learned about what made me tick was teaching. Because I didn't know. I was 19 when I wrote my first book, Slide Guitar, which is still a pretty popular book. I'm like, how do I know all this stuff? I'm a kid in the Bronx, blah, blah, blah. But I spent 7 years before that already perfecting it, you know, and playing out and playing up in Woodstock. And, you know, I went out there at a very young age because I had a lot of confidence.
You're looking at going to Cooperstown. Why?
The Guitar Hall of Fame. I'm the founder of the Guitar Hall of Fame, which is going to be, I mean, imagine a guitar player can now say, I'm being inducted into Cooperstown. Cooperstown is synonymous with Hall of Fame.
That's right.
And they love the idea up there. I've been working on it for 15 years.
Oh, that's great, Arlen.
So I looked at a couple of new spaces there, some new buildings where we might do it. And I want to have the real home of the guitar.
Right.
It's not the Country Music Hall of Fame. It's not rock and roll. It's all guitar.
So will
every genre.
Will this be the guitar players, the guitar itself, guitar
Well, it's like saying the
amplifiers?
Baseball Hall of Fame.
Okay.
The Guitar Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Everything
guitar.
Dealing with guitar. But on opening day, we're going to be inducting probably about 200 players. You know, easily.
Right.
And the exhibits will be them. And it's amazing how giving people are about it. You know, I mean, like they can't wait to throw stuff at you. Getting the exhibits will not be a problem.
Right.
And you know, we're right on the edge of Doubleday Field there, so we can have concerts. And I mean, I want it to be the kind of place where I walk in and never want to leave. Like I'll be like, you know, God. But the average guy and his kids might go in saying, oh, I want to see the Eric Clapton exhibit, but they come out knowing about Blind Willie McTell, knowing about all the great blues artists and the country artists, and you'll go from genre to genre. It'll keep snaking through. And we'll have a beautiful vintage style guitar shop in there, the way the guitar shops were in the old days. And there's so many cool things. I mean, my God. I mean, and I just want it to be real tactile, tangible. Of course, there's hundreds and hundreds of hours that I recorded with many artists, with Hot Licks.
Yeah.
Hot Licks, we did 180 artists and 220 videos.
Oh man.
And and the stuff that wasn't even released is about another 700 hours.
Yeah.
So there could be kiosks where people see that person teaching or whatever. I mean, the sky's the limit.
It is. It's unlimited.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about my visit to the Kansas City Jazz Museum, and they had some interactive stuff where you could play the instrument while the song was playing.
Wow.
And I thought, and that was 20 years ago, 1998. I'm part of the Blues Foundation. We just opened up the Blues Hall of Fame in Memphis a few years ago, and they've got a huge database where you can, listen to, I want to hear Big Mama Thornton. Here's all the songs, boom, boom, boom. Here's her biography.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean,
and I want to do a thing where like, I want to. A kid wants to sign out, play one of Clapton's guitars now for an hour, or BB's guitar, whatever, and do stuff like that.
That's very cool.
Real hands-on. It doesn't have to be gigantic,
right?
But it could have also a big online presence. But I'm going for it. I really want to make it happen.
I love it.
It's part of my legacy.
Yeah.
I've always given to the guitar. I figured this would be the ultimate, because this would be forever.
Right. Good.
And it deserves to happen.
Yeah, I love it.
It just deserves a tribute.
Good. And speaking of deserves to happen, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to have your mind blown by this wonderful guitar show we're going to have here tonight at Don Odell's. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you, man.